Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. As we've been doing for some time, we're going to start off this program to let a few more of you get here. We're going to start off this program with the Pledge of Allegiance and the United States National Anthem. At this time, I would like to ask everyone to please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, would you make welcome, straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Oh, yeah! Come on, folks, let them know it.
America's finest, the United States military, world's finest military. I want to thank them all for their service, wherever they might be around this planet of ours. Thank you for your service, and thank your families for helping you serve. We want to thank also our men and women of the military of other countries, our allies. Thank you for your service as well. God bless you all, and may you all return home to your families after your tours of duty end. Thank you so much, brothers and sisters. We love you and we appreciate you. Folks, we're going to be a little bit all over the place tonight. I have a lot of information to share with you. Someone asked me to talk about volcanoes. That's one of the things we're going to talk about tonight, is volcanoes. I want to show you a short video put up by Geology Hub talking about these volcanoes. Please watch this. This is important. have no idea how that happened. I have no idea how that happened. I was nowhere near this video here, and all of a sudden it just started. But folks, please stand by for this. This is important.
As of September 23, 2023, there are currently 47 volcanoes which are actively erupting around the planet. One of these erupting volcanoes is the Ruby Seamount, which is a submarine volcano considered part of the United States in the Northern Mariana Islands. With the summit lying at a depth of 230 meters or 755 feet below sea level, Ruby Seamount erupted for its first time in 28 years on September 15th of 2023, producing a series of underwater explosions and a large plume of discolored water visible from satellite. While this eruption, in my opinion, does not pose any risk to those that live on any of the many regional islands, I would still recommend that ships and people keep a minimum distance of 10 miles or 16 kilometers away from its summit. With this being said, here are this week's major volcano-related news stories. In Russia, a Kuril Island volcano erupted anew, albeit in a seemingly low-intensity eruption. Meanwhile, in Indonesia, ground uplift is ongoing at the Gamalama volcano, and this is quite worrying. And, in what is this week's top story, fairly rapid ground deformation began occurring at the tall and potentially dangerous Semeru volcano on the island of Java. This new uplift was first detected on September 16th, although it may have been ongoing since as early as September 4th. During this 12-day time span, the summit area of this volcano has been pushed upwards by 12 centimeters, equaling 1 centimeter a day. While Semeru is actively erupting right now, the new high rate of uplift likely signals the influx of a new and large batch of magma. This intrusion, if it continues, is likely to place a significant amount of highly pressurized gas beneath Semeru's active lava dome, which currently acts as a plug. Gas could then significantly build in pressure until it becomes so great that it cracks overlying rock, exploding upwards and releasing long-reaching pyroclastic flows in a subplinian or large-scale volcanian eruption. Such intrusions of a nearly identical appearance along with associated ground deformation occurred in the days to months before Semeru produced two highly destructive eruptions on December 4, 2021 and then again on December 4, 2022 involving 13-kilometer long and reportedly 19-kilometer long pyroclastic flows respectively. However, while 1 centimeter a day of uplift is quite significant, it is still less than the 2 centimeters a day seen during a period before the 2022 eruption occurred, which suggests that if a large eruption was to occur, it would be smaller than witnessed in 2022. Thus, in my opinion, a possible VEI3 eruption could occur at some point in the next 3 months at Semeru, although it is not a complete guarantee that such an eruption will occur at all. Regardless, please keep out of the current state exclusion zone affecting areas up to 17 kilometers away from Semeru's summit. Meanwhile, on Indonesia's Ternate Island, there is an increasing potential concern, at least in my opinion, regarding the central Gamalama volcano, as there appears to be an active magmatic intrusion ongoing 2.5 kilometers offshore of Gamalama's northwest flank, which is seemingly occurring alongside an increased rate of earthquakes at a depth of 3 to 9 kilometers in the same location. This suggests that magma is currently at a depth of 4 kilometers and is actively intruding upwards, pushing up overlying ground. Here is why this is a major problem if the magma reaches the surface. The last time a flank eruption occurred in this approximate location, it formed a 710 meter or 2,330 foot wide maar in a powerful explosion, releasing a pyroclastic flow that erased several villages off the map, leading to 1,300 deaths. While there is no guarantee that this magma will reach the surface or erupt in a similar manner, the fact that it may even be centered offshore suggests that if it does erupt, a highly explosive manner would be quite likely, perhaps even generating a regional tsunami from such an explosion. Thus, if this magma continues to ascend upwards, a large-scale evacuation of the 200,000 plus population of Ternate might be required. However, as the current volcanic unrest is still being analyzed, such an evacuation has not been considered yet, and likely only will be ordered if an eruption becomes likely. In Russia, the remote Sarychev Peak volcano erupted anew on September 21st as thermal signatures on its summit appeared to suggest that a small lava dome was beginning to slowly grow in its summit crater. However, I have potential evidence that this eruption may have been ongoing since September 9th, as that marks the first satellite detection of increased heat signatures. While this eruption could remain as a small-scale effusive event, it is quite likely to escalate, in my opinion, to a moderate volume explosive eruption at some point in the future. Here is a quick list of all the world's volcanoes which are currently erupting. Additionally, here are some volcanoes showing signs of unrest which are not erupting as of the recording of this video on September 23rd of 2023.
Okay, that's what he has to say there. I think that's all very, very important. That's why I wanted to share it with you. I think everything that he talked about is absolutely necessary to know about. Why? Each and every one of us know why. If any of those volcanoes erupted, we would have volcanic ash in areas we do not or were not able to normally see it. Out in Indonesia, that Himalayan volcano is out on that island. 200,000 people live over there on the southeastern side of that volcano. They would have to be evacuated. That eruption would also cause volcanic ash and other elements of the volcanic eruption to spread over most of Indonesia into Papua New Guinea and out into the southern islands of Vanuatu, Solomon Islands, Tonga, Fiji, that area. That would be a major eruption. That's why he's so concerned about that. It's not just that. There are many other volcanoes that he did not talk about. I'm going to bring those to your attention momentarily. This is very important. Okay? It is very important. Any one of these volcanoes erupting could cause major damage, major inconvenience, and a lot of people killed. Okay? I want to emphasize that. A lot of people killed. That's why we're talking about this tonight. Okay? Now, I'm going to be talking about a lot of things tonight. I would ask those of you who are part of our EMA family to maybe even take notes for yourselves and your family. That's how important this is. Before I get going more on this, I want to tell you what has been going on here on YouTube with this channel. YouTube is suppressing or shadow banning this channel. Our programs are in danger. Instead of having normally 900 to 1,000 people see our programs, they've cut it down to 700 plus. They've cut the number of people watching our programs down to 700 plus. Now, while you guys may be watching this program and their numbers are actually 1,000 plus or just under 1,000, they are shadow banning it. In other words, cutting the numbers down because they don't want anybody to know how important this channel is. They don't want anybody to know what's going on. So please understand this. They're limiting who is seeing these programs, and they're falsifying data as to the numbers that have been watching our program and the amount of time that you folks are putting in to watching this program. I also would ask you to check your subscriptions and make sure you're still subscribed to this channel. They're constantly unsubscribing people to this channel. If you're still subscribed and you're having problems being notified, unsubscribe and immediately resubscribe. That's the best explanation I can give you. And when you do that, you recheck your notification. You click on that notification bell, that little tiny bell in a little tiny circle. Click on that. A drop-down menu of 3 items will come up. Click on the word ALL, all. That should get you notified when we come on the air. You may need to do this every other day or twice a week even to keep YouTube on their toes. It's for your safety. We don't put anything out on this air that isn't necessary, that would not affect someone's safety. Everything we talk about here is very important. We don't just jack our jowls. Okay? So please check your subscriptions at least every few days, resubscribe if necessary, and click the notification bell again. Okay? And then click on the word ALL, which should get you notified whenever we come on the air. They're continuing to do this. This has been an ongoing problem for 4.5 years. And with this channel in particular, it's really a challenge because we started this particular channel, our second, in April of this year. Because something happened to our other channel, where we had 26,000 subscribers. And someone took it down. I don't want to get shadow banned. I don't want to get this channel suppressed because it's politics. And I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. But folks, please keep informed about what is going on. It's to your benefit to know exactly what's going on. Okay? Laura Murray says, I didn't get a notification. I basically have to check periodically to see if you're on. Laura, that's exactly what everybody is having to do. You may have to unsubscribe and immediately resubscribe. And then click on the notification bell again and click on the word ALL to make sure you get notified. This channel is, this platform is notorious for not reporting information and for making sure stuff doesn't get out. I'm just trying to give you a heads up about it. Now, getting back to volcanoes, and then we'll talk more about what's going on with the shadow banning issue. Volcanoes erupt molten rock, as most of you know. Volcanoes erupt the molten rock from the Earth's mantle. When it's in the ground, it's known as magma. Hot, steaming magma, anywhere from 2,400 degrees hot on up to 5,000 degrees hot. Once the magma reaches the surface, it's called lava, L-A-V-A, lava. As varied as volcanoes are in composition of magma, there's about 5 or 6 different types of magma. I'm not even going to go into that tonight. But know that the magma is of different compositions. One depending on where you live or where the volcano is. Okay? Different kinds of lava beneath the surface. Let's talk in particular about one volcano over in Alaska. Shishaldin volcano has been erupting off and on for a good month or two. On and on. We've talked about it. It's now in its 12th eruptive episode. The latest began 2 days ago. Geophysical and remote sensing data indicate that a low-level eruption at Shishaldin volcano is continuing. It remains confined to the summit crater of Shishaldin volcano. It's over in the lower peninsula of the Alaska Peninsula. Okay? Strongly elevated surface temperatures and some amplitude infrasound detectors are occurring. They're picking it up. Seismic tremors remain high, but they have started to slowly decline during the past 8 hours. No ash emissions or deposits outside the crater have been observed in satellite or web camera imagery. Based on previous eruptive episodes, eruptive cycles, it remains possible that this activity that's been ongoing now may culminate in a more significant lava fountain event and ash emissions. The Alaska Volcano Observatory is monitoring the volcano very closely, and they will issue additional volcanic activity notices as they occur. I got my latest notice about 40 to 45 minutes ago. There is a notice of significant changes in activity. The recent significant ash events, the ash cloud from this morning's eruption, for example, detached from the volcano about 7 a.m. Alaska time, 1500 UTC. And that eruptive cloud is now drifting east-southeast at an altitude of 38,000 feet. 38,000 feet. That is how high that eruption went to. Nearly to an altitude where we would become very concerned, because once it gets up about 40,000, 45,000 feet, that ash cloud will travel the world probably 3 times. That ash cloud could travel the world up to 3 times. Okay? 38,000 feet above sea level. These events like that can occur with little warning. It's also very possible that ash emissions may occur at a lower level. In other words, a lower altitude. Okay? And these ash emissions could be sustained for many hours. In other words, an ash cloud reaching up from, say, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 plus feet. It could be ongoing over a period of time. It could be a long time. Hours and hours, 12, 15, 20 hours. That is just dependent on what is going on. And we are going to keep a very close eye on Shishaldin volcano. We have reported about Shishaldin volcano in the past. It's an ongoing issue. Now, I want to continue about this because we've talked about the ash cloud. How about the pyroclastic flow? The lava going down the side of the volcano. It's likely ongoing down the immediate flanks of the volcano as of the eruption this morning. A mud flow is likely on the immediate flanks of the volcano as well. Shishaldin volcano is located near the center of Unimak Island, Unimak Island, Unimak Island, in the eastern Aleutian Islands. It's a spectacular symmetric cone. In other words, the volcano looks like a cone from all sides. You can't almost tell the difference where the cameraman is taking the picture because it's so symmetrical. Okay? The base diameter of the volcano is 10 miles. 10 miles, 16 kilometers. Okay? 650 foot, 200 meter wide funnel shaped summit crater. 660 foot or 220 meter summit crater. Okay? In that summit crater, it usually emits a steam plume and occasionally small amounts of ash. Shishaldin is one of the most active volcanoes in the Aleutian volcanic arc. Okay? It's quite a volcano in and of itself. Folks, this is quite interesting. Okay? I don't know how many of you have kept track of what's going on there, but it's very, very interesting. These volcanoes, guys, can pop up at any time. Literally any time. What I'm showing you here is a picture of lightning events yesterday evening and last night over at Shishaldin volcano. These lightning events were picked up on satellite imagery. I thought you might like to see this. Rarely do we ever see lightning that's picked up by the satellites. This is an occasional one that happens. Okay? Now, with 54 episodes of unrest at this volcano, including 26 confirmed eruptions since 1824. Most eruptions are relatively small, although the April to May 1999 event generated an ash column that reached 45,000 feet. 38,000 feet today and 45,000 feet in 1999. Nearly 25 years ago, 24 years ago. Okay? Activity at Shishaldin volcano has declined significantly since this morning. Seismicity, meaning the number of tremors and minor earthquakes that are happening, has decreased rapidly since around 0600 this morning, Alaska time. And there's been no significant ash emissions from the volcano currently. And when I checked the satellite imagery, and there's no current image of any ash coming from the volcano. So this is calmed down for the time being. It might not stay that way, but for the time being it is. The ash cloud from this morning's eruption detached from the volcano, like I said, at 0700 a.m. this morning, 7 a.m. this morning Alaska time. And like I said, it's now on a path outside of Alaska at an altitude of 45,000 feet high. 45,000 feet high. Ash emissions are continuing at a lower altitude of 20,000 to 25,000 feet above sea level. They continued until about 8:20 a.m. this morning. Small explosions are currently being detected by infrasound data, and they likely represent low-level eruptive activity near the vent area. There's trace amounts of minor amounts of ashfall. Minor amounts of ashfall. Okay? This ashfall amounted to rain that rained down onto False Pass, Alaska, King Cove, Cold Bay, and Sandpoint over in the peninsula area. Ashfall occurred during rainfall at all four communities, and no ashfall is expected from the current small explosions that are being detected on the infrasound. Okay? That's what's going on with Shishaldin. That is the most active volcano in the United States area today. Okay? Now, I'm going to go all over the world now. All over the world. Many of you have asked me to cover the volcanoes and let you know what's going on. So now I'm going over to Peru, southern Peru. There's two volcanoes over there, and only one of them, Sabancaya volcano, is erupting. Today it's erupted 3 different times. All 3 times we have eruptive amounts, ash and toxic gases up to 27,000 feet high, 8,200 meters high. That's pretty high. Over in southern Italy and Sicily area, we have Stromboli volcano. The National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology over there in Italy has reported a strong intensity explosion appeared earlier today. From thermal webcam images, it seems that the eruption took place from the north crater area, triggering a small lava flow onto the upper slope of I can never pronounce these Italian names. Sciarra, Sciarra, del Fuoco, and showering the vent with glowing lava bombs. Glowing lava bombs. That's when the structure of the volcano ejects huge pieces of lava into the air. Lava bombs, and they either land on the side flank of the volcano or they land down near the bottom of the volcano. When the Kilauea and Pu'u'o'o drained out in nothing to do with 1900s. When it drained out in 2019, we know what happened there. Scientists at the time those volcanoes drained out didn't know where the magma went. It went over to the East Rift Zone. It opened up 24 different fissures. Those fissures were active enough where they were throwing lava bombs out into the Pacific Ocean. Several lava bombs hit little tourist boats that were offshore. Some people got burned, and one boat limped back to the harbor because it had been on fire. Lava bombs can be ejected from the volcano for a very long distance away from the volcano. Okay? That's what happened over at Stromboli this morning. The showering event continued, and glowing lava bombs were ever present most of the morning. Over in Japan, off the southernmost coast of Japan, there's an island where we have another volcano, Suwanee-Zajima Volcano. Explosive activity continues. A volcanic ash plume rose up to 7,000 feet high. 7,000 feet high. Flight level 070. Now, while this may seem a little bit higher, what does Shishaldin do? 38,000 feet. Suwanee-Zajima has been erupting up to 7,000 feet for quite some time, as well as several other volcanoes over there in Indonesia and also over in the Philippines. Now, the scientists over at Geology Hub mentioned Semeru Volcano. Semeru Volcano is over in eastern Java. Okay? Explosive activity is continuing there. They have been warning about a volcanic ash plume that rose up to 15,000 feet. 15,000 feet, 4,600 meters high. Altitude flight level 150. Another volcano north of there, also in Indonesia, called Dukono Volcano, over in Halmahera, Indonesia. Explosive activity is continuing there. Dukono Volcano has been erupting almost every day for several years now. Dukono Volcano erupted today several times up to 7,000 feet high, 2,100 meters high, flight level 070. Luotolo Volcano in the Lesser Sunda Islands there in Indonesia. Frequent volcanic ash emissions up to 7,000 feet again. 7,000 feet high, flight level 070 at Luotolo Volcano in Indonesia. Let's go over to Mexico, southeast of Mexico City. We go to Popocatépetl. Popo, as we tenderly call it, where they, actually it was kind of funny because I remember when some people 20, 30, 40 years ago were calling it Little Popo. Little Popo. It was never little. Believe me, it was never little. Popo Volcano is still erupting. It's been erupting off and on now for years. The Washington Volcanic Agency is warning about a volcanic ash plume that rose up to estimated 20,000 feet high at Popocatépetl. 20,000 feet high, 6,100 meters high. An altitude or flight level 200. Flight level 200, and the ash plume is moving at 25 knots in a southwesterly direction. South of Mexico, in Guatemala, we have two volcanoes down there right now that are erupting. There's actually 3 or 4 there, but only 2 of them are erupting. Fuego Volcano. Fire volcano, that's why they call it Fuego. Fire volcano in Spanish. Fuego Volcano has had explosive activity and it's continuing. Warning about a volcanic ash plume that rose up to an estimated 15,000 feet high, 4,600 meters high. That's huge. Flight level 150. And the explosive activity is continuing. Another volcano over there in Guatemala, it's called Santiaguito Volcano. Santiaguito Volcano has had volcanic ash observations. Not by sight, the volcanic ash emissions have been caught on satellite. Apparently there's been a lot of clouds in the area or other things going on, and it wasn't possible that people were able to see it from the ground. The Santiaguito volcano has had upwards of a 15,000 foot eruption today, 4,600 meters high, flight level 150. We go further south into Colombia, south central Colombia. Navarro del Ruiz volcano in Colombia. Explosive volcanic activity is continuing there. They have been warning about a volcanic ash plume that rose up to an estimated 20,000 feet high, 6,100 meters high, flight level 200. Flight level 200. South of there, in Ecuador, we have two other volcanoes. Only one of those is erupting presently. The other volcano, Reventador, is quiet right now, but usually doesn't stay that way. Every few days it might go quiet, or sometimes both Reventador and Sangay volcano erupt together. Today, explosive activity at Sangay is continuing. They've been warning about a volcanic ash plume that rose up to an estimated 21,000 feet high, 6,400 meters high, flight level 210. Now, I must apologize because today I had ample opportunity to set up this video for you to see Villarica volcano in Chile, and I didn't do it until now. So if you'll just bear with me, I'm going to try to pull this information up for you so you'll be able to see it. I think you're going to marvel by it, number one, and number two, it should be interesting for you. It should be very interesting. Okay? Hang in there with me for just a second. I apologize for not having set this up earlier. It's my bad. Villarica volcano, Villarica, Villarica volcano. Now you're going to want to see this because we often do not get helicopter views from a volcano. And they went in with this helicopter and obtained these spectacular footage from this volcano. Notice what they're showing here. See that lava cone way down there? The crater there. It has red hot molten lava in it. Red hot molten lava. Villarica volcano over there in south central Chile. South central Chile. You can see the gases rising up out of the cone crater of Villarica volcano. This is spectacular. Again, this does not usually happen. Aircraft are not allowed anywhere near volcanoes for the most part. The geological people over there in Chile and Argentina must have thought that nothing was going to happen, and they got lucky to have this volcano and this footage of the inside of that volcano. Villarica volcano in south central Chile has erupted. You can see the ash on the ground outside of the volcano, on the rim of the volcano. You can see the blackish gray ash on the rim of the volcano here. You can also, like I said, see steam. You can also see the red hot lava down there in the crater itself. This is a first. I don't think we've ever been able to see this in the past. This is a first. Okay? It's quite spectacular, I have to say for my own. It's quite spectacular. Now, besides Villarica and these other volcanoes we've talked about, the scientists at Geology Hub talked about 47 volcanoes that are presently erupting, off and on. Not all of the volcanoes are erupting continually. One of the other volcanoes over on Kamchatka Peninsula, Besamini volcano, has been erupting off and on. It's in the Kamchatka Peninsula Depression in central Kamchatka Peninsula. Kliuchevskoye volcano is also in central Kamchatka Peninsula. It has also been erupting. The volcano at Kamchatka Peninsula, which is Kliuchevskoye, is the highest and most active volcano. Its origin happened about 6,000 years ago. It's also got that same kind of symmetry that Shishaldin has. They say it's most beautiful symmetrical volcano. The height of the volcano is 4,835 meters high. It's a basaltic stratovolcano and has produced frequent moderate volcanic eruptions. And it's very explosive. And when it explodes, people from hundreds of miles away can hear it. It's amazing. It has effusive eruptions as well, meaning lava going down the slopes of the volcano. And the effusive eruptions sometimes go without major periods of inactivity. All of a sudden it'll just happen and it'll stop. A daily bright thermal anomaly was identified in satellite images. In other words, the satellites were picking up the lava, the hot lava inside the crater. Lava fountaining, red flows going down the side of the volcano at times. Okay? It's incredible. Also just south of Kamchatka is Ebuko volcano. Ebuko volcano is in the Kuril Islands. It's also been erupting, and I did not catch the name of the other volcano in the Kuril Islands south of Ebuko. It's also been erupting as of today. Now, another volcano down in Antarctica, Erebus volcano. It's got an active lava lake in the summit crater. Also one over in Ethiopia, Erda Ale volcano. Erda Ale volcano. It's returned, the lava has returned to the northern pit of the crater. That is as of September 6th this year, just a little short 2 weeks ago. The lava lake has returned to the crater at Erta Ale volcano in Ethiopia. Does anybody have any questions about these volcanoes? Space Force says, I'll bet there's a dragon in it. No, I don't think so. No, there's no dragons in these volcanoes, guys. I assure you, there's no dragons in these volcanoes. It doesn't happen that way. Sorry. It doesn't happen that way. Well, if there was dragons up there, they wouldn't survive the heat. 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 degrees now. Richard Smith is talking about a 3.1 near Kenai, Alaska. That's a 3.1 small earthquake over there near Kenai, Alaska. Nathan Hester says, Ron, did you find out about that picture I sent you? No, I haven't as of yet. I'm still working on that. Thanks, Nathan. Appreciate that. Any other questions about these volcanoes? Heather says, she's a beautiful volcano. I agree. She really is. Sorry, it's a warm day. It got up to 85 degrees today. We've got the air conditioning on. I've got a fan in my office here blowing on me, and I'm still warm. But that's another story. That probably has to do with the medicine I'm taking. Rob52 says, how big was the eruption? I believe that one was up to 7,000 feet high. The one at Shishaldin volcano, that was a lot higher. That was up to 48,000 feet. 48,000 feet. This morning's eruption over at Shishaldin was 38,000 feet. That was huge. That was huge, I'll tell you. It's almost insane. That's how big that volcano was, or that eruption was. Can you imagine a 38,000 foot eruption almost into the stratosphere? Stratosphere is, I believe, up above 40,000, 45,000 feet. This morning's eruption was 38,000, but it's been upwards of 48. Incredible. Hurricane Heather says, I'm double layered and wrapped in a blankie. It's 73 degrees here, too cold. Oh, wow. Wow. That's incredible. Rob says it's 101 there in Arizona. Oh my gosh. That's wild. That's really warm. Anyway, I want to get back for a few minutes and talk about what the Biden administration is doing to this program and others. As I reported to you a few weeks ago, Biden and his administration were told by the United States Supreme Court of Appeals, U.S. District Court of Appeals, I should say, not Supreme Court, District Court of Appeals. They were told by a judge to back off social media and stop telling social media to suppress information, to cut information off the channels, or cut people's information off their profiles over on Facebook and other places. So Biden got his hand slapped. Well, let me tell you something else. I was blown away about what I've been looking at. I started looking at it because it affected me. It affected all of us that watch this channel or other channels on YouTube or other social media. Justice Samuel Alito extended to September 27th, which is 2 days from now. He extended a temporary stay blocking a lower court ruling that restricted federal agencies from contacting social media firms with requests to remove content, censor content, and taking content off of social media. A temporary stay blocking a lower court ruling that restricted federal agencies from contacting social media firms. So Justice Samuel Alito must think that it's okay for the president and his administration to censure people. Samuel Alito said it was okay. And he has extended that temporary stay until 2 days from now, giving justices more time to decide how to handle the case. Judge Doughty's order, which was the first district court ruling, prohibited agencies including the Department of Justice, the Department of Homeland Security, the State Department, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency, and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention from intimidating social media companies. Preventing them from intimidating social media companies. The new order in the case Murthy versus Missouri, Court File 23A Adam 243, came late September 22nd. The lead applicant was U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy, whom critics accuse of participating in government efforts to suppress and censor free discussion of public health issues such as COVID-19. On September 14th, Justice Alito put on hold the July 4th ruling of U.S. District Judge Terry Doughty of Louisiana, who is an appointee of President Trump. He put a temporary stay until September 22nd. Now the stay has been extended to the 27th. The lawsuit that spawned the injunction was filed by Missouri and Louisiana's Attorney General, who have accused Biden administration officials of engaging in what amounts to governmental censorship by proxy. Governmental censorship by proxy, by leaning on social media companies to take down posts or suspend accounts like they did to my last channel last year and the years before that. The lawsuits this time alleged that the Biden administration urged or even mandated Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube to censor viewpoints and speakers disfavored by the left under the cover of combating disinformation. Under the cover of combating disinformation, misinformation, and malinformation. Per Judge Doughty's injunction, agencies and their employees may not communicate with the social media companies by urging, encouraging, pressuring, or inducing any manner for removal, deletion, suppression, or reduction of content containing protected speech, protected free speech. The agencies may not flag content on social media platforms or seek to remove content or suppress its reach. The agencies may also not press the platforms to alter their guidelines for the removal, suppression, or reduction of content that contains protected free speech. But the injunction allowed federal officials to continue to correspond with social media firms. I don't know how they do this. The order allowed federal officials to continue to correspond with social media firms, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and all the others, regarding criminal activity, national security threats, and other matters. In other words, it still gives the administration leeway to do whatever they darn well please, because you know darn well it's going to happen. It's incredible. It's incredible. So folks, lean on your representatives in Congress and the Senate. You could even send letters to the Supreme Court telling them to get off their high horses and protect free speech. Protect free speech. Because quite honestly, I'm getting tired of fighting Biden and his people. It's high time we stop it. Now, something else has happened in the last 24 hours. There's a new state of emergency in Texas. A government shutdown is almost imminent here in the United States. Thousands of illegal immigrants are overrunning a tiny border town in Texas, with the mayor declaring a state of emergency. A father in the group says he's fleeing the impact of organized crime to protect his children. Joe Biden announced new aid to Ukraine as he met Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House this past weekend. What are the two saying amid mounting questions over accountability for U.S. taxpayer money? Inquiring minds want to know. Joe Biden has sent billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine. And yet we're right in the middle of a budget crisis. And Joe Biden still wants to send millions, billions more to Ukraine. The United States right now is pending a complete governmental shutdown. In other words, the United States of America can't pay its bills. Can't pay its bills. If this is not worked out before September 30th, no one is going to get their Social Security checks. No one is going to get the Medicaid checks. Nobody's going to get SNAP benefits for their children. Nothing's going to happen. Those of you that work for the federal government, guess what? You won't get paid. You won't get paid. Those of you who work for the federal government and work in emergency roles such as fire department and police or law enforcement for the federal government, you will be forced to work without pay. That happened to me once during the Clinton administration when Bill Clinton shut down the government. I did not receive a paycheck for a month. Fortunately, my landlord understood what was going on and understood the government was obligated to pay me full in back pay. And so sooner or later, the landlord was going to get their money. I'm hoping that will be the case again where I live now, and for many of you as well. Because we are facing a complete shutdown of the government coming September 30th. And it's not very far off. 5 days from now, we could have a governmental shutdown again. And Biden said today he doesn't care. He does not care. On top of that, Biden and his people, his administration, are now offering work permits to 500,000 illegal immigrants. The Biden administration is now offering work permits for 500,000 illegal immigrants, which is going to put United States citizens out of work. This stunt of his, authorizing work permits for 5,000 illegal immigrants, is going to displace already cash-strapped American citizens. Will the House GOP vote to extend defense spending before a government shutdown? The government shutdown could come as early as Thursday night, Friday morning. A House vote failed to pass the Pentagon budget bill. Its passage may depend on how the money gets spent, because the legislators are worried about Biden sending more billions of dollars to Ukraine. And McCarthy today stepped back away from it. In other words, McCarthy, who is the Speaker of the House, stepped back away, allowing Biden to send more money to Ukraine. That was one of the stipulations on the latest bill. And McCarthy backed down. What kind of imbecile is that we have as a Speaker of the House that doesn't even stand up to reason and to stand up to the United States, for the United States, to protect us? Biden wants to increase each person that's here paying taxes. Biden wants to increase every human taxpayer in America $40,000 tax increase for each one of us. Representative Bob Good from Virginia offers us his thoughts on the budget battle unfolding in the House. Why did he vote as he did? And what does he want to get done? Former Trump advisor Peter Navarro. This is a man who stood up for each one of us. Even though he was advisor for the Trump administration for the president, he stood up for each one of us. The former January 6th Select Committee, the January 6th Select Committee that said President Trump had done wrong and convicted a bunch of other people of rioting the Capitol when there was no riot at all. It was a peaceful demonstration, not a riot. And we also found that FBI personnel had also instigated something close to a riot themselves. Our own FBI. Peter Navarro was found guilty by the January 6th Select Committee for not cooperating with the corrupt Select Committee. He was found guilty by the select committee. He says, quote, I'm not a wealthy guy. I wasn't one of the wealthy guys in the Trump administration. All I ever did was create jobs, save lives, and settle labor strikes. And I thought I did the honorable, productive service to this country. Part of the problem here is this is lawfare. This notion of, if you can't put me in prison, you can at least bankrupt me. And that's what they're trying to do with Peter Navarro. He just got $300,000 from President Trump to help pay his law bills to his attorneys. President Trump just paid $300,000 to his attorneys because he's going under. It's unreal what these high and mighty Democrats are doing. Driving good men from government. Do you think anybody like Peter Navarro is ever going to help another president or help another administration do good for this country? I doubt it, because these good people are going to be scared that they're going to try to be held accountable by these lawless Democrat communists and be thrown in jail. In Peter Navarro's case, they couldn't throw him in jail, so they're trying to bankrupt him. Now, getting back to Maui. I've talked a lot about Maui since August 8th, and I'm not going to stop. I can't stop. The numbers don't lie. The numbers honestly do not lie. I want to show you something. Those of you that know me know that I have showed you video showing the wrongdoing by the people in charge of the Hawaiian government. Let me show you this. I think you'll be appalled at what you see.
I'm standing here in front of the State of Hawaii Department, Land and Natural Resources. I just said, "F you," asking some questions.
Makes no service by you.
Did you just say "f you" to him?
I did.
And then another official said she's going to call the police.
Appreciate you turn that off.
You're going to call the police?
I told you to turn it off.
I've been arrested in Taste, so I'm a little bit on it. But emergency proclamation is a soft term for martial law. And they're saying we can't take pictures or video from the highway. Oh, they'll arrest you if you don't get out of there, and they'll retaliate. My boat on fire in the harbor.
That's your boat on fire? Someone lit your boat on fire, basically.
Yeah. If I had hidden cameras, he would have full on hit me.
There may be a way for me to help you with the hidden camera thing.
You have a thought. I'm going to remove myself from being upset
Okay.
before worse things happen.
If I give you some equipment, you think you'd do it today or tomorrow?
Oh, yeah.
The undercover cameras you've seen us use in the past, both in these videos and in our masterclasses, are now available for sale. Go to our website, o'keefemediagroup.com, click on Covert Camera Store, and you can buy the button camera. Buy it, go get the footage, send it to us, and we'll pay you for it. Now enjoy O'Keefe Undercover in Lahaina, Part 2. After we released Part 1 of our undercover investigation in Lahaina, showing how the emergency proclamation declared by the governor of Hawaii prohibited photography and journalism alongside the burn zone, which resulted in a lawsuit between OMG and the governor of Hawaii, we received tips and messages from hundreds of locals in Hawaii looking for us to tell their stories about how this crisis is playing out on a variety of levels. This included a lack of ability to get resources from the federal government locally, locals unable to get inside the burn zone, and a potential land grab by the state. We'll be following up in a series of video reports on Lahaina in the coming weeks. Today, we continue to report on the First Amendment and tensions that are deep-rooted in Hawaii, as we track one man's interaction with local officials at the Department of Land and Natural Resources, and how the state itself is struggling with the deep and long-standing issues regarding the Kingdom of Hawaii being under U.S. control. While our reporters were speaking with members of the Red Cross and FEMA, we came across a local man whose boat was apparently lit on fire and who took issue with what he characterized as the martial law which was instituted under the governor's proclamation 127A. The man said he's had some issues dealing with officials at DNLR, Department of Natural Land Resources in Maui Harbor in Wailuku, just south of Lahaina.
And then I got arrested. I got arrested while salvaging my vessel.
You got arrested while salvaging it. Who did that? A state trooper? What is it?
Department of it's doe carriers. They're in law enforcement division of DLNR. They have the guns and the tasers.
The man, who we happened to be recording because we were wearing a hidden camera, told us he could potentially get some interesting conversations on tape if he had a hidden camera.
If I had hidden cameras, he would have full on hit me. He's already pressed up his chest against me twice in public. So you need to come in the office. Come in the office.
Not knowing if the man was credible, we offered to give him a camera and see what he's been seeing with our own eyes.
There may be a way for me to help you with the hidden camera thing. If I give you some equipment, you think you'd do it today or tomorrow?
Oh, yeah.
We showed up to the office and spoke with Paul Sansano, the district manager of the Maui County District Office of DNLR. Sure enough, Paul was not happy to see the citizen.
What is this about?
The seizure of my property.
Get outside. Are you with him?
Yeah.
Get outside.
Kicking us out?
No.
Oh.
Just that my staff shouldn't be involved.
Okay.
Stuff.
All right.
Bullshit. Okay, what is it now?
I haven't had any forfeiture documents of any of my property, like the kayaks that were stolen off of my vessel. My boat was never posted by anyone.
I don't know that.
Troy Apper went aboard my boat and trashed it.
Stop, okay? The boat is gone. It's burned already. It's down.
That's my home. You burned.
Well, you lost your home. What can I tell you? So did thousands of other people.
You ordered it to be towed by Jared Bergmeyer
for a fire.
Yes.
The man said he lost his boat in the fire and was told that a lot of people lost their homes. The DNR official, Paul Sansano, almost assaulted him for talking about his situation.
You have a son.
We watched tensions rise between the two people as the Kingdom of Hawaii was brought up a couple times, and the two men discussed which one of them is truly Hawaiian.
You don't follow the rules, yeah, you think that you're an exception, then so be it.
This is the Kingdom of Hawaii.
I'm going to treat you as an exception. You know what? I got your Kingdom of Hawaii thing, yeah?
Yeah.
Are you Hawaiian? Are you
I don't have to be
raised here?
What does it matter if he's Hawaiian or not? I'm just curious.
Well, because he claims to be under the rules and regulations of the Kingdom of Hawaii.
This is a theme we heard a lot about on the ground in Hawaii, as many Americans just do not realize how deep-seated this tension is. While Hawaii is an American state, Lahaina is and was the capital of the Kingdom of Hawaii, and many people feel strongly about their heritage and where they came from. The district manager cursed off the man, apologized, and said if he didn't remove himself from the situation, worse could happen.
Makes no service by you.
I don't care.
Did you just tell him, did you just say F you to him?
I did.
Do you work for the state? Do you work for the state of Hawaii? Sir?
Yes.
Do you work for the Department of Land and Natural Resources,
Yes.
state of Hawaii? You just told a citizen F you?
Well, that's because I'm upset, so that was wrong of me to say that, being
Okay.
upset. So I'm going to remove myself from being upset
Okay.
before worse things happen.
What worse thing could happen?
That's for me to know.
Okay.
Then a man named Robert Troy Abreu appeared, and our cameraman showed up to get some answers.
Yeah, I was just asking about the guy there who just spoke. Yeah.
What?
Your supervisor, what's his name?
Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just said F you.
What?
To us.
Who are you guys associated with?
Who am I associated with?
No, I mean, I don't know why you guys are here. I don't know.
My name is
I have
James.
no idea what happened.
Another official asked us to turn off the cameras and told us that we, quote, can't use the footage in court.
My name is.
Appreciate you turn that off.
We have a right to record.
You can't use that in court.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm a journalist.
I don't care.
You don't care that I'm a journalist?
No, I don't care, but I want that turned off.
It was unclear what the official meant by that, as we're journalists publishing a documentary on the internet and not in court. Then the officials called the police on us, which was the second time that people tried to use law enforcement in an attempt to squelch photography and journalism, which is a protected activity under the First Amendment.
Well, what if I don't want to turn it off? You're going to call the police?
Yeah, I told you to turn it off.
Okay, they're gonna call the police.
We know we're just scratching the surface and telling these stories, but OMG seeks to shed some insight on the tensions, the culture, the emergency proclamation, and anything that's hidden behind public view so that all of America can see what's actually happening. If you have information, please contact us on our website, o'keefemediagroup.com.
Okay? o'keefemediagroup.com. Hawaiian people over there can contact them. I've given you all a great length of information myself while we've been here on this channel, and I'm not going to stop. We're not the only ones that have been reporting information. We're supposed to live in a country where the voice of the people is supposed to be heard as loudly as the voice of few in power. I'm going to repeat that. We're supposed to be living in a country where the voice of the people is supposed to be heard as loudly as the voice of the few in power. Supposed to. No one likes to be lied to. We all have been lied to again and again and again. But it's especially harmful and hurtful to be lied to by people that you put your trust in. People who have sworn to be your protectors, who are supposed to look out for your best interests. People who have been given positions of authority over the people under them. It is equally hurtful to be called a liar or a traitor. So for this reason, I'm very careful not to make accusations without having a very strong reason for doing so. This is also why I haven't gone to the extent that I want to go. I haven't created articles or any video anymore about a Maui conspiracy theories that are going on. We've seen those. I've reported on the conspiracy theories. I've given every benefit of the doubt to the innocence of situations of people over on Maui. Three people that are in control, and probably another 100 or so people that are part of agencies over there on Maui in the state of Hawaii, that said that this fire was a natural disaster. And the fire took over before anyone could do anything about it. We've talked about this. I'm not going to stop talking about it. I can't. I just can't. Some things have surfaced that are making it very difficult, if not extremely difficult, for me to remain in this conviction where I can talk about anything I need to talk about and bring it to the public's attention, because I'm being censored. Sometimes in life, you have to do things you don't want to do. You have to tell the truth, no matter what it costs. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. That's exactly what I have been doing. Sometimes you have to ask questions, no matter where they might lead. I'm in no way an authority on some of these subjects, but I am a researcher, I'm an investigator, and I'm obligated to share my feelings with the public. Not just my feelings, but my findings. Things that I find out I need to report on. Even if it doesn't sit well with some. Even if it causes risks. At some point in life, You don't care anymore about what happens as long as you live by your conscience. And that's exactly where I am tonight. I really don't care what happens to me, because I have to live by my conscience, that I stood up with evidence. And as long as you share the truth, you know the Lord will protect you and you'll be blessed. That's what I have always been taught. As I have been researching for numbers to support the total population in Lahaina compared with the total people missing and accounted for persons, I started seeing the numbers not adding up. The numbers are not adding up. These numbers here are just a beginning. Of course, there still is a lot of stuff up in the air. With a tragedy of this magnitude, answers are not going to come easily. People are going to do what they want to do. People are going to want things to happen faster than is naturally possible. And people want those in authority to have answers they might not really have, or answers that they don't want to give out. But transparency is really important, and some people like myself feel it's not being given sufficiently. I have read multiple comments, and I've heard multiple videos from the locals in Maui and Lahaina stating officials were not being honest about how bad the situation is and how bad the situation was and the number of dead or people that are missing. They're not being honest. It's not just being simple enough to understand. They're not being honest at all. From the experiences that I've had, this is usually how the government, medical institutions, and media outlets work. They work in unison to provide a straight front, a strong front, that nobody's going to want to budge or get through to try to get answers. The excuse being given is they don't want people to panic even more. Isn't that what I've been talking about for years now? These government people not wanting people to panic. But in this case, it's past that time. People have been killed. They've lost everything. And these officials don't want people to panic even more. But this results in a backlash of public distrust and angst, as you saw in that film from O'Keefe Media. You saw a state official from the state of Hawaii Division of Land Management tell one of the citizens of Maui to F off. And not just once, but several times. Then he took a step back and apologized, but told them to get out of there before something worse happens. Threatening a citizen. First, telling that citizen to F off, and then threatening the citizen with possible violence. Parents and community members feel particularly tormented, knowing many of the children that were home alone in Maui when the fire struck. One father managed to save his own children, but not his neighbors. He stated that even a 10 or 15 minute warning could have made a significant difference in saving lives. You've heard me talk about Eric West. In a very telling YouTube video by Hawaii real estate channel Eric West, which he has been interviewing local people there and making huge efforts to piece the puzzle together. Eric West interviewed a guest survivor who goes by the name of Fish. I may have aired part of that interview for you a couple weeks ago. Fish is now homeless, or was as of about a week ago. Fish was one of the first people to walk out of danger's way when he recognized the warning signs, but he says others weren't following, even though those in cars were just waiting, blocked by the police who were allegedly following orders. Following orders to keep people in harm's way that was going to lead people to die, because they were following, those police officers were following orders of their supervisors and their bosses. And we know those things were wrong. The orders given were wrong. After talking with many others and having so many unanswered questions, Fish is now, and I'm agreeing with this, Fish is now calling the whole thing a choreographed disaster. A choreographed disaster. That's exactly what this is. A choreographed disaster. And I'm still going to ask this question here. And I'm not going to stop until I get some solid answers and not more lies. What happened to the children? What happened to the children? This question is what a lot of people want answered. A lot of people over there want answered. A lot of people all over this country and around the world want answered. What happened to the children? And you can see by what I'm showing you here. August 8th enrollment at Lahaina campuses in Maui. 3,001 children were enrolled. Students who have enrolled in other public schools, 538. Students who were enrolled in the State District Distant Learning Program, the SDLP, English and Hawaii Language Immersion, 438. The remainder of students who have not re-enrolled in another public school or opted for distance learning may have moved out of state and enrolled in private schools, 2,025. The State of Hawaii Department of Education does not have any information about 2,025 students. Again, I'm asking the questions. Where are the children? They are lying to us about the people. They are lying to us about the children. All you got to do is extrapolate. Pull the numbers together. That's what I've been doing. 3,100 kids enrolled in Lahaina. 1,000 of them have been accounted for. They're going to alternate schools or doing online school. But that leaves over 2,000 children not accounted for. A bit off from the approximated 800 total people missing, which is the number given by officials, and now they're saying only 68 people are missing. It does not add up. It does not add up. When Police Chief Pelletier said that they had identified 115 remains, 115 bodies in Maui from the fire. And at the time, They said there was probably 1,500, 1,700 people still missing. Later, he has said that those 115 bodies were similar in makeup with DNA, and so they reduced the total number from 115 to 98 and now down to 68. It does not add up. It does not add up. They cannot possibly have 115 different bodies and have DNA similar to other people that were missing and dead. It does not add up. It doesn't add up at all. Now, I'd like to take a moment here, just as a side note warning, that right after that interview with Fish, they go on to talk about the high rate of scamming going on by people sending false texts, false links, pretending to be banks, the Red Cross, FEMA, etc. Again, I'm asking all of you who are on Maui, all of you who are on Maui or have relatives or friends there, please warn anyone you know that you need to be made aware of that they don't need to be scammed. Please warn anyone you know who may need to be made aware of scammers. Do not just talk to anybody because of who they say they are, because they're probably not who they say they are. 4 schools have been closed, but one is open, and allegedly another one is going to be open soon in Maui. Maui Preparatory Academy remains open and fully functioning. The school manages grades pre-K through 12th and is accepting displaced students from Huamana to Waikuli. They hope to fill 50 spaces, but with 500 applications, they're struggling to have enough space and resources to cover the incoming students. Another school, Sacred Heart, was burned down but is planning to use the local parish to receive 220 students in the coming week. Virtual school still remains an option, but is hardly an option when so many people lost power. Internet service and phone signals are sketchy at best. Laptops have been lost in the burn, limiting a means for accessing the internet at all. There's also been emotional trauma that children are facing in losing their old schools, teachers, and their friends, not to mention losing their homes and almost the entire world that they lived in, and their whole town. On August 25th, Hawaii News Now reported a list of 388 missing persons, allegedly compiled by the FBI, with no ages or genders of the people. Each of these is on the list because they have a person of contact associated with them. 388 missing persons. They said at the time, quote, this is John Pelletier speaking, we're releasing this list of 388 names because we know it will help make the investigation. We want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make this investigation as complete and thorough as possible. To make their investigation complete and as thorough as possible. August 25th, they said there was 388 names of people missing. And shortly after that, it went down to 68. At a news conference earlier this week, Maui Mayor Richard Bisson said, authorities don't have an estimate of how many people they believe perished in the fire, in large because of the high count of individuals reported missing. Officials have also said they don't know how many children are among the victims. Quote, there are still 850 people missing from the Maui wildfires, but a new report from the Hawaii State Department of Education shows that there are more than 2,000 people, 2,000 students who are still unaccounted for in the public school system. The number that was reported is 2,025. Please bear in mind, this number still only accounts for the number of pre-K to school-age children. It does not account for children not enrolled or babies who were left at home. Babies who were left at home to be cared for by older children. How many people are really missing? Now, while I can't find an exact number of homeschoolers in Lahaina, homeschooling is at a premium. A lot of people in Hawaii do not trust the public schools, as is normal across this country. The number of homeschoolers has had an astounding increase in the last few years, specifically since COVID happened. Nearly twice as many families in Hawaii have decided to homeschool their children this academic year as last year, according to new data from the public schools and the Census Bureau. Homeschooling is alive and well in Hawaii, according to Lori Beth Aldridge, who homeschools her 3 daughters in upcountry Maui and helps other families. Quote, "We are doing it because it aligns with our family values. Other people are doing it because virtual schooling is not working for their children." Virtual schooling is not working for their children. This is the case all over Hawaii. Okay? Now, I want to applaud Eric West and several other creators on YouTube for giving out information and helping me research and investigate what exactly happened. Again, I'm telling you, I am not going to relax my stance until we have some good numbers, until we can get good information that is 1, reliable, 2, accurate, and 3, doesn't make anyone look stupid, including those poor people over on Maui. I'm not going to stand for it, and I don't think anybody should. Do not stand for it. As we said before, stand ye in holy places. That is our Savior's admonition for us. Stand ye in holy places. Those people on Hawaii are an ancient people. Lahaina itself was the capital of that ancient people. It was the capital of Hawaii for the ancient people until they were admitted as a state of the United States. And since then, those people have found themselves in hot water with the United States government. And now they've found themselves in a lot worse. Guys, I've done a lot of research. A ton of research. I'm still finding out information every day, and I'm going to report that to you. I'm not going to stop. We're going to get answers. The police chief and the mayor and the governor, Governor Gangrene, they've created problems for themselves. As you saw in that video, they have been actually arresting people that have gone out there to try to take pictures and try to get information about what happened. Governor Green and Mayor Bisson today allowed the first residents back into Lahaina and West Maui to go to their property, to spend time on their property, to try to find anything of value that's left that possibly may not have been stolen. Because yes, I don't trust any of those people that were over there except for maybe the canine units. I would have to believe you can trust them. But as for the FEMA people that were over there without masks or respirators or anything else, any other PPE, they should never have been there. If it's such a hazardous area, why were they there without proper PPE? Mayor Bisson and the police chief over there and the governor are allowing people to go in there, but telling them not to stir up the dust, not to stir up the ash, because it may contain harmful particles that might hurt them. But at least they're allowing the first people there. They have 3 or 4 different districts that they've labeled that they're allowing people into starting today. I hope and pray that those people will find some semblance of organization for themselves, that they might find some semblance of order for their lives now, that they might understand who they are and where they fit in to everything, with hope, with their life here on this earth or in eternity. It's all of our responsibility to help these people. All of ours. Yes, I only spent time over on Maui. I'm not on Maui, Oahu. I spent 9 days on Oahu. I never did get to go over to Maui like I wanted to. And now Maui is a completely different place. Brothers and sisters, I still believe it's each of our responsibility to help these people in Hawaii. And I pledge you my heart, my life, and my ability to gather information for them and you. And I will not stop until we get it. I am not going to stop until we get it. I don't have a bitter mind. I don't have bitterness in my heart. I have some angst. I have some anger because lives were destroyed. Properties were destroyed. Lives turned upside down. And it's high time that we stood up for what is important. Eric West is still gathering information for me, and he's putting it out. Several other people are also putting out information. Eric West also got help from Elon Musk with Starlink satellite systems that he was given for free to turn over to churches to help people in those churches. He and his son raised hundreds of thousands of dollars, $808,000 that they've turned over to churches and families in Maui. Eric West is not going to rest either. as you may have seen on a video a couple weeks ago. He almost faced arrest because he was helping people. And I stand by him. And I told him I would stand with him. Folks, that is our report tonight. I ask each of us to be a fighter. Catherine Sigerson said, Jesus is a fighter. I have to believe that our children that were lost over there are fighters. I will never forget the story from a father and mother who were not allowed entrance into the area where they used to live. And when they finally got in and forced a way in, they were told that nobody was there, that they had found all the bodies and everything else. And yet the father and mother found their 15-year-old son burned, dead, holding on to his dog that he was trying to protect. Both he and his dog were killed in the fire. And the father took a blanket and wrapped up the body of his son and their dog and took it to the police for proper identification and burial. After the family had been lied to, saying there's nobody there, they found their son. I'm still here, and I'm still here to try to help families find their loved ones and find some peace. Folks, I'm going to take you back to Colossians in the New Testament. I want to take you to Colossians chapter 3. Chapter 3, verse 15. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts, to the which also ye are called in one body, and be ye thankful. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly, in all wisdom, teaching and admonishing one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing with grace in your hearts to the Lord. I'm going to go on here for a minute, so just bear with me. And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God and the Father by him. Wives, submit to your own husbands, as it is fit in the Lord. Husbands, love your wives, and be not bitter against them. Children, obey your parents in all things, for this is well-pleasing unto the Lord. Fathers, provoke not your children to anger, lest they may be discouraged. Don't provoke your children in anger, lest they become discouraged. Servants, this is for us. We are the servants. We are the employees of our jobs. We are the employees of our employers. Obey in all things your masters according to the flesh, not with eye service as men pleasers, but in singleness of heart, fearing God. And whatsoever ye do, do it heartily as to the Lord, and not unto men, knowing that of the Lord ye shall receive the reward of the inheritance. For ye serve the Lord. For ye serve the Lord. Brothers and sisters, I stand before you tonight, humble, with a heart intent on finding answers. My heart is full of love for all of you, for our families and our loved ones, and for those children in Maui. God bless them. God bless us all. May we all get something out of what we've talked about tonight. I hope we've learned something. I hope we've really learned something tonight. I was going to talk about all the earthquakes all around the world. There was only one earthquake in particular that I wanted to touch on, and I didn't do it tonight. It was over in Japan. It was a large earthquake, and yet it was a very deep earthquake. 382 kilometers deep. That large earthquake is going to promote or propagate a much larger earthquake that could hit there in Japan or anywhere else, north, south, east, or even west. Folks, we've talked about earthquakes. We've talked about storms. We're right towards the end, actually not even the end, the middle of the hurricane season. Hurricane season ends the end of November. We talked about storms. We're always going to be talking about storms. We're always going to be talking about earthquakes. We're going to be talking about fires and floods. But let's do this with a singleness of heart. Let's stand up for that which is right. I'm not ever going to lead you wrong. That I refuse to do. God bless you all. God bless you all in all that you do. If anything else happens tonight, brothers and sisters, I will be back to report on it as soon as the information becomes available. Until then, please give us a thumbs up before you leave here tonight if you think this program was worth it. Please share it with everybody you know. Your family, extended family, your friends, neighbors, your social media contacts, and even the people you work with. There's a lot here. I understand that. But we have a lot of people that count on us. Please share this. People need it. I love you very much. I love the Lord. God be with you till we meet again. That's my prayer for each one of us. Have a good night, folks. We'll be back here tomorrow, if not before. Take care, guys. God bless you. God be with you till we meet again. We'll see you around the corner. Good night, everybody.